Hey Star, welcome to the Cosmos. Thanks for joining me again. Today I'm working on villager yards for the people who live in the town part of Fringewood, meaning they're the average city people and not the cryptids, which if you haven't seen my other videos and you aren't sure what a cryptid is, think Bigfoot. You know, cryptids are caught between mythical creatures and creatures proved by science, and they're kind of in the middle where some people say they're real and some people say they don't. So these people live within the town, just kind of surrounded by all of these cryptids. And the neighborhood that I'm working on, not the neighborhood, but the yard that I'm working on right now is for Dierdre. And her kind of personality that I wanted was, she's the person who is constantly looking out for all of her friends and neighbors, and if a tourist stops by and is kind of lost, she's always there ready to help them. You know, like if you get sick, she's the one who's bringing you a casserole. So I wanted her yard to be really cozy, comfy, and then also have this little picnic table out there, so that people can just come and sit with her and enjoy a cute, fun meal. The flowers in the back, I don't know if I'm totally sold on them. I like the idea of her having a flower yard, but I don't know, like a little flower garden, but I don't know if I'm completely sold on that. So I might have to revisit that in the future, but I did think that a bird bath was totally perfect for her. So I was excited to have that there. And then after that, I went to go and work on Kiki's yard. And Kiki I've dubbed the stealth operative. I just feel like her character having the big wide eyes really fit for just being able to see in the dark. And then also she's a black cat, so she blends in pretty well. So I thought it'd be fun if she's the villager who gets zoomies in the woods at night. And she's an avid survivalist, an avid camper, and she's got research gear, and she's really smart with first aid. So she's kind of, she's out there in the woods looking for them at night. You know, you see the Bigfoot hunter videos, and they're all out with all their gear and stuff, just looking, doing the Sasquatch calls, or trying to record the infrared heat signals. Like, she's that kind of person. She's got all that gear, and she can survive in any kind of weather during any kind of the year, and she's just good at it. So with her yard, I wanted to include some survivalist characteristics. I started with lots and lots of flowers because the main part that I wanted for her yard was the bee homes. I can't remember what they're called, but an apiary. The beehives, there we go, that's the word. And I got a little bit confused right there because I had a floating biotope planter in Dierdre's yard, and I was like, I don't remember where I put it, you know, because I planned things out before I made the video, but I didn't remember what I planned. But I remembered that she had a floating biotope too. Kiki did too, and so then I was like, oh, I need to put that one back. So I did a little bit of running back and forth right there. But then I put down the hives, and with some dirt paths in the front of them, just kind of make the yards look a little more used. For the most part, I didn't want to super over clutter because lots of people have very nice yards where they're very proud of how they look, and so I was kind of leaning into that idea of they take a lot of pride in caring for the grass around their homes. So Kiki's gonna need to be revisited though, because she has a gap in front of her home that goes up to Nook's Cranny, and I might do like some camping gear or something there since she's a camper. But anyway, I'll have to look at that spot right below, and then to the right of her house is a whole bunch of flowers that I have stocked up to use later. And I had a ton of fun putting scooters on the street. I found the really cute green and blue scooters and just kind of put them around on the roads to make them look a little more used, as well as adding some height to them. Next was Raymond's yard, and he's the person in Fringewood that just does not believe in cryptids. He thinks it's all wish-wash, you know, like silly kind of stuff. And part of my origin story for him was he was actually destined to be on a rom-com island because he was a very successful businessman and he doesn't like Christmas. So he was supposed to end up there, but the universe messed up and now he's on a cryptid island, completely out of place, but also serving the very important role of the one villager who doesn't think there's anything spooky in the woods. For his stuff, you know, like he wears his business suit and he's got a successful career and he takes really good care of his yard. He's beautifying it, which is why he's got the little flower planters in the back and he's got all of these little bonsai trees. He takes great pride in making sure that everything is completely pristine. I also gave him that little bird cage because I just think it's funny when he's a cat, and you know, cats and birds don't technically like each other very much, so put it there as a little bit of an ironic decoration, which fits him, I think, because he's kind of there as an ironic character. I also made sure to give him yard care items, like I plopped down a hose reel right here, as well as the lawnmower a little bit ago, just to lean more into the idea of he takes great pride in his yard. And then the next one is Cole's house, and Cole is the witness. He's got those big round eyes. He just looks like he's seen something. And he lives right up against the river, which goes into the woods, and he will just sit down and tell you stories for hours. You know, he's had a lot of experiences with Bigfoot or Dogman in the woods, just kind of seeing them. Also, you know, coming across the Jersey Devil and what are my other two? Mothman and the Loch Ness Monster are my other two. And so he's come across them. He's had those weird experiences where he's like, you know, I was just out one day minding my own business and I came across this creature in the woods that is not supposed to exist, and yet I'm staring at it. And so he's just a lot of fun to sit down and talk to for hours and hours. And with his yard, I didn't want it as pristine as Raymond's yard because he's a lazy villager, and I think he also would just lean into the nature aspect. And so I gave him more trees than the others, and I put down a little picnic blanket for him to sit out at and just chat with people as they come by. And there's also some Mothman Polaroids on the ground there by the tree. He got some pictures of the Mothman that he's like, look, I have evidence. I've seen him, you know, he's out there. I also wanted to show some of the kind of understanding of the woods and just being familiar with it and being able to kind of fend for himself. Not as strongly as Kiki. She's definitely peak survivalist, but he is also fairly independent as far as taking care of himself goes. So I gave him his own well and also made sure to put out some tools and let's see, what else did I do? Oh yeah, a bucket for the well, because you can't have a well without like either a bucket or a wishing coin. I feel like those two are just so perfect with the well, so. Gave him another tree. Honestly, I hope the next Animal Crossing has even more trees. I'm obsessed with the trees and the bushes. I can't get enough of them. His yard was really nice to decorate for that reason. I just really love putting down trees. Also, to lean into his independence and survivalism, I gave him wooden boxes, which I imagine are full of more tools and more camping gear and stuff like that. And to show how he's on the edge of the forest and the wild aspect of the island, I put a couple ducks there. And then the last villager yard that I worked on was for Cheri, and she's one of my favorite villagers that I have on the island. I had her on my previous island and I loved her so much that I was like, I don't care what happens on the next island, I want Cheri. So Cheri is the vlogger, and she has actually caught video evidence of a cryptid, and so she runs her own YouTube channel, her own podcast, and she talks about cryptids with people who have seen cryptids, and she's on a mission to get more evidence that cryptids are out there. And so she's really friendly, super outgoing. I gave her a bike as well, so that she could go on bike rides with Dierdre. I just think they would be besties and they would love going on bike rides together. And so with her yard, because she's an avid vlogger, I wanted to include more technical gear than everybody else had. So I set up a cute little recording spot for her where she can sit up on the couch outside and just record episodes or do live streams and just chat with viewers. And so I've got a laptop for her, and later I also put down some headphones. And her yard, I think, is my favorite out of all the ones that I did. Dierdre, I do want to revisit hers and see if I can do something else, but I felt like the yard that most clearly communicated the character was definitely Cheri's, and it also felt pretty full, and I struggle with doing clutter. I feel like it brings a lot of life to the area, but I don't do clutter very well. So I feel like I did a better job with her area with making it feel like it was lived in. So I'm pretty pleased with how hers turned out. And hers is right on the edge of a little transition area that I also worked on. And I didn't do a speed build for it, but there's this little pathway that goes right off of the main road right in front of her yard. And it walks over to a spot where the villagers, the people who live in the town, these 5 characters, they can all just come together and sit and enjoy each other's company. It's not really for the tourists like a lot of my previous builds have been, but they can come and get some shaved ice and have some smoothies. And then that beach I'll decorate to be theirs, but I haven't done that yet. But then this spot leads out into the woods, and right beyond that is where I'm going to put Allie, my Loch Ness monster, so I'm excited for that. And here's some beauty shots to close out the video. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to see more of the Fringewood escapades, please like and subscribe, and I hope you have a fabulous day.